Hello and welcome to this edition of the Indiana State Police Public Information Program. I'm your host today, Senior Trooper Thurston, Public Information Officer for the Indianapolis State Police Post. We have a special guest today, Jerry Federspiel, who is the Director of the Youth Education and Historical Center. Jerry, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
It's good to have you here. We're going to spend some time talking about the Youth Education Center. We're going to be looking at the different career camps that the state police offers, and we're also going to talk a little bit about tornado safety. But the first thing that we want to talk about is the Youth and Education Center, and that's only been around for a couple of years, hasn't it?
Yes, it was built and opened to the public basically in August of '93, and then they had to close it because there was not enough staff to run it, and we opened it up again March of '94. And it was totally built through donation funding, and it was given to the state of Indiana early in 1994.
Well, that's a key point there that I think a lot of people that have not had a chance to go through the museum, and it's very important to emphasize that whole facility was built by donations, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Private donations and corporate donations. And it's quite an interesting facility for those who haven't had a chance to come out and visit us. We've got about 5,000 square feet, and you'll think we've got 25,000 square feet with everything that's in there.
I know the times I've been in there that I've been very impressed with it. And here we are talking about it. It'd probably be a good idea to tell people where it is.
We're located at 8500 East 21st Street at the far east end of the Indianapolis State Police Post, just near 21st and Post Road in Indianapolis.
And 21st and Post Road, that's a good point of location for it on the east side. The hours that is open, what hours are available?
Basically, we run Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 11 and 1 till 4, unless it's a legal state holiday and we close down that period of time. And that's 52 weeks out of the year we're open.
So just regular holidays won't be open?
Right.
And people probably should call in advance.
It'd be a good idea to call us at 899-8293, that's area code 317, and we can give them the... And we'll also have some Saturday hours and special events coming up during the summer months.
So again, we can't emphasize enough that to call in advance and see what the hours are, because there are many different programs that are available at the museum, and specifically there are some nights that are reserved specifically for Scout. What night is Scout Night?
Scout Night's the third Tuesday night of every month. We open at 6:30 and give tours and special things that the Scouts might need, such as fingerprinting or first aid or CPR demonstrations, so that they can get signed off on their merit badge requirements into our facility.
So we have Scout Night, and are there other types of tours that are available?
Yes, we'll have a tour for anybody that wants to come through, any age group, and we will try to tailor-make our tour to their needs. If it's a senior citizens group, of course, we're going to address it differently than if it's a preschool or grade school type tour. We do encourage schools and groups to contact us again and schedule tours.
Well, when we talk about schools and this time of tight budgets and everybody's concerned about how their dollars are spent, and when you think about going on a field trip, especially for a school, there's the how much do we have to budget for this? And I think that's the neat part about this museum. There's no cost, is there?
There's absolutely no cost. Our funding comes strictly from donations, and they can come through, and the only cost that they would have is their transportation to and from the museum.
Now, as I recall, though, we do have at the entrance a box that you can drop a donation in there, and we're always happy to accept donations. So when you come through there, it's worth the time. Even if you just put in a quarter, it all goes to help maintain that museum.
Right. Building new displays, acquiring new displays, maintaining the old ones. It's quite a job.
There's also something in there available for public use. Isn't there a meeting room or auditorium?
We have a meeting room available. They'd have to contact us about scheduling and things of that nature. But we have a large conference room, can comfortably seat about 150 people.
So that is a good size, right?
Yes, it is.
So
we have immediate capability there too for their needs.
Very good. Now there's also each year isn't there a special event that happens sometime around September?
In September, the third weekend, we have our annual open house. We'll have hot rods come in, antique police cars and vehicles, some new police vehicles. In fact, we'll probably have the newest addition to our mobile command fleet. The big bus will be there this year, I think. Other police departments bring their cars in and demonstrate, and we have fun and games for the kids. We may even set up a Dunk the Trooper tank and put you in there, Dave, so people can dunk you for a nominal charge.
You've said that, you've guaranteed that I'll have to be there, and I suppose I'll have to be there in uniform, so
that would be nice.
That's the guy that gave me the ticket, I'll dunk him, boom. So I meant I'll be dripping wet for a good cause. Though.
Right.
So,
all funds that we raise during that day go to support the museum.
Now, after I'm dunked, do we put you?
There's a possibility I'll be in the tank myself.
Okay, then that'll make it fair enough. Now, I know last year when we had the open house, about how many hot rods were out there?
We had 158 cars in the show last year, and 7 antique police cars came in.
And those came in from out of the state and in the state, didn't they?
Some of them were out, yes, and one of the cars remained at the museum after the show.
What, they couldn't get it started to take it?
I say
or?
museum, but it's actually a historical center. The gentleman that owns the car left it for us to use as a display piece because it's a 1957 Ford actual state police car that's been restored, and it's on display in our lot now, and he kind of likes it to be there so people
Very
can
impressive.
see it.
And we have had many tours through there, but perhaps just for our audience, if you could give us a walking tour. I know that when you first come in the entryway, there's a big mural that shows a progression of time from the police first started in the 1930s on up to present day, and plus what your car is sitting
That's the 57 Ford sitting right inside the door. We also have a wall dedicated to the officers that have died in the line of duty. We have our bricks in there. People can donate $25 and get a brick, and we'll put the brick in the museum.
Talk about the brick a little bit more, because I myself have one of those bricks, and anybody, a corporate, a private individual can come in, and with a $25 donation, you can have the brick engraved with your name on it, or your company name, or what a great way to give a memorial to somebody, a loved one or family member, and donate a brick to them in the name of the State Police Museum.
One of the schools that just came through on a tour liked it so well that they bought a brick for their school, and I think that's really neat that they wanted to do that, and it helps put money into our programs too. Then we have some from Joe Higgins, who was a Dodge safety sheriff back in the 1950s. He was never really a police officer, but hundreds of departments have made him an honorary officer.
I remember seeing his badges. He had literally hundreds.
Right. So we have those on display. We have confiscated weapons, both guns and knives, that have been away from our undesirable elements. We have a collection of guns that are or have been used by the Indiana State Police. There's one set of guns that is specifically dedicated to winning through trophy matches. We have 10 vehicles at the present time, a boat, a driver coming out of it.
That's suspended from the roof, too.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Future plans include possible helicopter and other expansion plans. We've got other items that have been donated by the families of people who've passed on, or people that are still alive and they've wanted to donate things to the museum to preserve the history. We have a still that was captured in 1984 down in Monroe County, and that's a big topic of discussion.
In fact, that's set up right next. There's a quite in-depth Dillinger display.
Yes, there is. Just as you come in the front door in the first display room, we have a Dillinger display that has an awful lot of artifacts from the Dillinger Museum down in Nashville, Indiana. They've helped us make a real nice display.
And even right next to John Dillinger, we have one of the infamous Mustangs from the original Mustang Patrol, which is really now more of the Camaro Patrol.
Right,
So,
and they do get you.
So, yeah, hopefully nobody will come in. That's the one that got me, that Mustang.
We also have an explosives display. We have a display on our camping programs. We have antique police toys that have been donated. There is a motor carrier display that helps explain what our motor carrier officers do, because a lot of people aren't aware of what they do. And several cars, including a flag car that's out for presentations.
Talk a little bit about that flag car. Isn't that all, it's painted up like a flag,
It looks like a flag and...
a U.S. flag.
A U.S. flag, and it has the Indiana State Police decals on the side. We won it at the International Chiefs Police Conference, and we have the car for 1 year, and we're using it for publicity means. We'll take it out to fairs and parades and things like that to help promote the department and other programs that we wish to emphasize.
And then aside from that car, there's another car that's a special interest to the 4th, 5th, the 6th graders, even moms and dads, older people like to get in that. And
Yes,
that's the two-headed car, isn't it?
It's a two-headed car, and a lot of people ask if it's because we don't know whether we're coming or going, and actually it's because we got you coming and going. But that car was put together especially as an educational tool. The whole center is used as an educational tool, but this car will allow people to get in it, turn on the lights and sirens and listen to the radios and get a feel for what an officer really goes through when he's out there with his lights and sirens going.
No, because as a matter of fact, when you get in that car, you can actually look at you can talk to each other, then there's a partition between the 2 points, and you have your own separate controls for the lights, your own separate controls for the siren. The biggest question that I've always been asked about is everybody says, oh, can we bring this out to our location and have it on display? Can we drive it out there? That car does not have an engine in it, does it?
No engine or transmission. It's strictly a floor showroom piece. We can take it to special events on a flatbed trailer, but we haven't taken it out a lot yet.
And I think it has to be a very special event because that incurs a lot of expense and time and effort to move it. And primarily, that's a way that we can get people to come to the museum, right, Jerry?
That's correct, and we encourage people to come out and visit us and learn a little bit more about the state police and what we can do for the public.
And the rest of the, as I recall, there's also a couple of displays of other police uniforms. There's a Royal Canadian Mounted Police Officer's uniform.
Yes, we have the RCMP, we have a British Bobby, we have some other uniforms that have been given to me that I haven't got on display yet, and we have several foreign hats that are on display at the present time from various countries, Germany and France and Belgium, England, so we have an international flavor also.
Well, I appreciate you filling us in a little bit. We've wanted to tell you a lot about what our museum has, and hopefully to entice you to come out there and actually see it for yourself. We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, we're going to talk with Jerry some about the various state police camps that are available to children from 4th and 5th grade on up to high school. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hold on to dear life and every precious smile. We're only here together for just a little while. Hold on to dear life.
Hello, welcome back to the Indiana State Information Program. I'm still your host, Dave Burston from the Indianapolis Post, and we've been talking with Jerry Federspiel. We've just been talking about, before the break, about the museum, and again, we want to encourage whether you have a child of 5 years old or you are a child of 50 yourself or even up into your 80s or 90s, there's something for everybody at the museum. Right, Jerry?
Yes, it is. It's a really interesting place to come visit.
Let's move on and take a look at the other part of your very important function as director of the Historical Center and the Youth Services, and that's the youth camps. And there are youth services that are provided by the state police. Can you give us a brief overview of those?
Certainly. I spend my summer months camping, which is really great.
It's a good thing to get paid for doing, huh?
Right. We have 5 different programs. We have a Kiwanis Career Camp. When I say Kiwanis or Optimist or Lions, they co-sponsor with the Indiana State Police.
So they have a lot of the expenses.
Right. So we have the Kiwanis Career Camp, which is a week-long, in-depth look at camping or police as a career for high school age students. We have the Lions Law Camp, which is for 7th and 8th graders, 4-day event. We have Respect for Law camps, and there will be 7 of those throughout. at various colleges, and that's for 5th and 6th graders. And then we have 6 programs for at-risk youth at state parks, and a program right here at the Law Enforcement Academy for Explorer Conference students in November. And that's all Boy Scout experience, male and female.
Well, let's take a look at each of those and working our way from one end of the scale to the other. Briefly, could you tell a little bit more about the at-risk? And as I recall, that has to be referred through a county agency. Mom or dad can't call up and say, I want to send my child to this
That's
program.
correct. All of our youth in this camp to us through either a probation department, group home, a welfare department, or other law enforcement agencies. And they're strictly referred, and we take these kids out to a state park for 4 days and teach them about life experiences other than what they might get in a city. They learn how to pitch a tent and cook out, and wildlife and the plants and things that you might run into out in the woods. We also have recreation built in for those camps.
So it's a very structured program.
Very structured.
Only by referral.
Right.
Okay. Going on then to the camps where mom or dad can call up and send their child. Now, do we have something for the 16-year-old?
Well, we start with the 5th grade.
5th grade.
If they've completed 4th grade and not yet started the 7th, then they can go to the Respect for Law camps, which is co-sponsored by the Optimist. We'll have 7 of those this season, 2 at Vincennes, 2 at Notre Dame, 1 each at Hanover, Huntington, and Taylor College.
They're spread around the state that there's easy access for mom and dad to have their child participate in.
Yes, and the cost of that camp is $70, and the Optimist will help on cases if the family can't afford the full $70. And again, let me emphasize that these are held at colleges or universities. It gives the child the first look at college, and we look at issues at their age level that they might be interested in, such as peer pressure or drugs or child abuse issues, as well as law enforcement issues.
So in other words, you're trying to instill in them respect for themselves, respect for other people, making prudent decisions by information that they've been exposed to. And
That's correct.
Just trying to make the right decisions without being affected by negative peer pressure.
That's correct. And once they go through these camps, then we can progress on to the Lions Law Camp. We have 2 of those each year for 7th and 8th graders. They're held at Taylor and Vincennes University this year.
So again, we have opposite ends of the state.
Right, and the cost for that camp is $90. And again, they can seek assistance through the Lions clubs for funding, and they provide a lot of the help with the camps.
Now that camp is a day longer.
Yes,
than the
it's a
other one.
4-day camp. The response is 3. And then when we finish with the Lions Law Camp, we don't want to lose the kids, so we've got a week-long adventure for them, and that's called the Kiwanis Career Camp. It started in 1970, and we put over 25,000 youth through the entire camping program since our inception in 1970. But the career camp for high school students, they start in 9th grade and go all the way through the 12th, is an in-depth, week-long boot camp. They start on a Sunday afternoon and don't quit until Friday, and they change drastically while they're there. There they might look at issues such as sexual, child abuse, child pornography, and how they might get into that away or something like that. They'll meet people from the FBI, the Secret Service, the Drug Enforcement Agency, the Treasury, Customs, just any
Postal
avenue of law
inspectors,
enforcement.
railroad police.
Right. We have law professors come in from the universities. We have federal judges, local judges. We have attorneys,
Prosecutors.
just to give them a complete look at law enforcement as a possible career. They each get a field trip. Last year, in fact, I think you were at last year's camp.
Yes, that's right.
We took them out.
Not as a camper. So,
We took them out to Salamone Reservoir and demonstrated rescuing a drowning, and then we had the Samaritan hospital ship come in from Fort Wayne, and we just exposed the kids to a wide variety of topics.
and Jerry, as you know, that's a camp that is near and dear to me because it has been around since 1970, and I was fortunate enough to go through that camp myself in 1976. I was 16 years old then, and I remember very vividly the things that I learned at that camp, and obviously it had some sort of influence on me because I've been with the state police now for a little over 12 years, or coming up on 12 years. And then not only have I had the experience of seeing it from a camper's point of view, I've been as a counselor a number of times. And it's been a privilege for me as a counselor that there are now people serving on the state police that I was a counselor for when they came through the career camp.
Right, we have a number of departments that have several representatives that have gone through our camp program. So it might be your sheriff or city police, but we've probably had an impact on somebody from the local departments. Our final camp that I'd like to discuss briefly is the Law Enforcement Explorer Conference. It's directed toward the scouting activities, and it's a weekend hands-on experience for youth that are involved in law enforcement explorers throughout the state, and in fact last year we had some from out of state come in. We've got such a good program, okay. And they want to share in that, and that comes to us through Law Enforcement Explorer posts.
So how long is that again? I think
that's a weekend right here at the Law Enforcement Academy.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what, I think we forgot to mention on the career camp, the camp we were just talking about before, what's the expense on that?
It's $160, and there are two of them, as I may have failed to mention, one at Vincennes and one at Huntington College. So we're hitting both ends of the state again. They are coeducational camps, and if they need financial assistance, they can either contact the Kiwanis or contact us at the Youth Services Building, area code 317-899-8293, and we can provide more information not only on the camping programs, but on the Youth Services Historical Center also.
And in another minute or so, we'll try and bring that number up again, and we'll get it put on a graphic also. So the camps, and you did mention that all of our camps are coeducational, aren't they?
Right, and that's something new starting last year. We've gone coeducational through all of our camps. Sometimes it's a concern.
Well, I remember I slept each night up there as a counselor. I had one eye all the time, but it was a good experience for as a counselor and also for the campers.
A lot of the kids pick up a lot of new friends for the rest of their lives through these camps, and they're very worthwhile. Some schools have the information, so if they can't get us, they might contact a guidance counselor at school, and they should have the information available also.
And there's a very good chance that they may see a public information officer come out to their school, because I think we have an information video that highlights each of the things that we've been talking about here.
That's correct, Dave.
So a great opportunity, and something that I would strongly support any young adult, high school level, even younger, if they're interested, remotely interested in a law enforcement career, take advantage of these camps. It will answer that question for you. What I'd like to do is ask you to give that phone number again. Can you do that?
It's area code 317-899-893.
And by calling that number, you can get information about the museum, you can get information about the career camps, and you can schedule for special events.
Special events and tours.
Okay. One thing we want to do, we're coming up close to the end of our program, and we want to spend a little time talking about tornadoes, because we are now in the tornado season. And that's one part we didn't talk about in the museum, did we? We've got a special room dedicated in the museum to tornadoes.
That's right. We can take the group in there and turn out the lights. We have a film that we show them. We can simulate lightning and wind blowing. We have a tree that will move. And then when the video comes on, you hear the thunder and the noise of a tornado. And we open the curtains, and it looks like they're looking out the window.
It looks like you're actually looking outside.
It looks like a tornado coming across the field at you. And we give them a briefing on tornadoes, what to do. At the end of the program, we give everybody a copy of Funnel Facts, and that's what you have
that's
there.
What I have in my hand here. And so this is available to everybody. All they have to do is come by the museum. Even if they don't want to take a tour, they can just come through and take a look and get a hold of this. And it's got a lot of good information. I just want to highlight a few things for those people that may not have a chance to come in. And one important thing is knowing the difference between a watch and a warning. And the primary thing to remember is that in a tornado watch, the conditions are favorable to have a tornado. Sky's dark, ominous looking clouds, conditions are there for it to happen. And when you have a watch, what you should be on guard mentally is thinking, okay, do I have things in the basement, or what, if you don't have a basement, what is the safest portion of my home to be at? And be prepared in case that watch is upgraded to a warning. And that That's where you need to be very alert, because the warning means that, yes, in fact, something has been sighted, it's been seen either by law enforcement or it's been seen by somebody in the community, and that's when you're going to start to hear the emergency warning sirens. You'll get the weather alert on your radio when you hear the tone, and they'll be giving you information about tornadoes. Please, please remember that tornadoes are one of the most violent forms of a storm that Mother Nature unleashes upon us, and they're to be taken very seriously. Some other side facts to remember is to have inventoried the possessions of your home. If you go through a disaster like that, you can lose everything so long as you don't lose your life. Everything else is replaceable. And it kind of hits home to me right now because just recently I had my basement flooded out. It wasn't because of a tornado, just had a little problem with some plumbing, but I sure found out firsthand the importance of documenting everything that you have for insurance. And that's another thing. Make sure that your insurance policies are up to date. Do you have any comments to make? Anything that we've left out about the museum or about the camps? Or
No, just encourage everybody to come visit us and find out what we offer and contact us for tours. We're more than happy to schedule special tours.
Super. I'd like to thank each of you for watching the Indiana State Police Public Information Program today. I want to give special thanks to our guest, Jerry Federspiel. Jerry will be looking forward to your phone call and to getting a tour to come out. Reserve time, make time, especially on a Saturday in the summer. Come out and go through the museum, something fun that the family can do. It doesn't just have to be a tour. Thanks a lot, be safe, and remember to wear your seatbelt whenever you're driving. The life you save may be your own.